get the party started.
Oh, baby!
When was the last time you shit your pants?
You think I'm a goddamn fool?
I shit my pants last night.
It's a beautiful planet. Well, it's a moon, for sure.
I'm sick and tired of all this bullshit. Put that in your package, folks.
What's up, everybody? Josh, Clearing Waivers podcast, coming at you for another episode of the Clearing Waivers podcast. How's everybody doing tonight? We hope you enjoyed your week. Thank you for joining us once again. We always appreciate you stopping by. Always appreciate you sharing us with your friends. I'm gonna lead it off with that. Give us some help. Give us some love here. Get us some more of you listeners. We really want to get in more people's ears. There's only one way that we could do that, and that's through your help. So, as always, we appreciate everything that you've done for us. We always appreciate that. Tonight, we've got another Royals heavy episode. They've done a few things. They've stopped the bleeding. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Just kind of stop the schneid, and we're working on maybe a winning streak here. We'll see how the night falls. Maybe it'll be like last week where we make a bunch of predictions, and then they come true. It's it was a fun week last week for the Clearing Waivers podcast. Beware of the Clearing Waivers mentioning or giving you any kind of kudos, Royals or Chiefs players, because the inverse is gonna happen almost immediately. It'll be a fun little experiment that we'll get to try again tonight. But like I said, we've got a lot to cover. We've got a 40-game sample size, got a lot to pull from. We want to talk about the definitive things that we could pull from this 40-game sample size. We'll talk about a little bit about that. We'll do a little ball street. We've got some hot takes to buy or sell, and then we're going to introduce a new segment. I mean, we're just rolling new segments consistently off of the truck every week as a new segment. That'll probably stop after this week, but got a new segment to do in the Clearing the Waivers, and then we got a couple shenanigans to get into. So I guess without further ado, let's get into Clearing the Waivers.
We're clearing the waivers.
Like I said, Royals are 41 games in, I believe, at this point. That was always Ned Yost's and GMDM's favorite measuring pull. The first one that you could really pull off and start measuring and start drawing some conclusions about what we've seen in the 40-game sample size so far. The interesting thing is 40 games has happened. Last year, we only got 60 games, and we've already got 40. It seems like it's flown by, absolutely flown by, is those first 40 games. But strap in, because there's another 122 to go. So at least, I mean, who knows? Who knows what'll happen in here with the Royal season. But we've got 40 games. We've got some definitive things. Each one of us has one that is different. We did make sure that they were all different. But we've each got one definitive thing that we could say about this Royals team 40 games in. Kitty, I'm going to start with you here. What was your definitive thing that you could talk about this 2021 Royals team?
For me, it's that I'm going lineup, and Santana and Salvi need some help. I mean, they're doing their thing. They are doing what they are paid to do. Mm-hmm. They're hitting the ball hard for Salvi, and Santana's taking his requisite lead the league in walks kind of category. So those guys are doing their jobs. Santana 142 OPS plus, Salvi 120. That's what you want out of those two. Yep. The rest of the team, not great. At least Benintendi and Witt hanging around 100. Mm-hmm. So get away with that. But then when Soler's at 71, Dozier's at 47, Nicky Lopez at 76, Michael A. Taylor at 75. I mean, you've got, and whoever else is in the ninth batter in the lineup, you've got 5 spots that are just not doing anything worthwhile in the lineup. Most major league pitchers can handle a 4-man lineup. So you really got to figure something out. Obviously, there's been a little bad luck for Dozier and Soler. They're still hitting the ball pretty hard. Both of them have their line drive percentage down a few percentage points from years past, but they shouldn't be this bad. But they're also going to be, even if they were percentages were about the same, they're still going to be a little down from what they have been in years past, and they'd probably still at best be right around 100, which it's okay. But someone else needs to step up, need that third good bat in the lineup. So that's a worry for me. And then I'm looking at it. What the hell is Terry Bradshaw doing? This guy's been
cashing checks.
13 to 17 minor league hitting coordinator. So we've seen almost all these guys for minor. And then 2018 to now, he's been the hitting coach. What's he doing? A whole lot of nothing, if it looks like. I mean,
I was thinking about this the other day. Like, as good as Carlos Santana has been, as well as you mentioned Benintendi, both those guys came from outside the organization, have a clear different approach to the plate than every other Royals hitter that has been around over a couple seasons. So I don't think that is a coincidence at all.
No, exactly. The Royals organization as a whole, going back seemingly since they won in '85, they decided no one wants to walk.
The dawn of time. Yeah.
I mean, ever since it's crazy how few guys they have on the team that draw a walk or even seemingly try to draw a walk or don't swing at bad pitches. So, and then I think we were all worried about before the year when they brought in Michael A. Taylor. He was the same MO, low walk, high swing rate player, and he's doing the same here. And lo and behold, he's got a 775 OPS plus. I mean, that article was written before the year started, and it's come true already in 40 games.
You could have 100% did like a card shark thing like we do. I mean, like, is Hunter Dozier's OPS plus higher or lower than Nicky Lopez? And I would have missed every one of those. Every one of those I've been knocked out of.
Especially after 40 games. You would have thought at least Dozier and Soler have been a little higher. 47. I was surprised it was that bad.
That's
but
tough.
Yeah,
he's
it's
probably
rough.
I don't know what it is. He's got to be at the top, if not, got to be at the top for like average exit velocity too, maybe.
I didn't see that stat today when I was looking
pull that
numbers up. I don't have that one, but I mean, he's definitely hard hit contact percentage is pretty good. Just a line drive percentage is what really is hurting him right now. He's like 4 percentage points below his usual. And then, and the thing for Soler I noticed today is home runs per fly ball is really bad, like 7%, I think it was.
Yeah.
Routinely, he's in that 21%, 18 to 20% category. So he could easily have 7 or 8 home runs instead of the 3 he has, which would make things look a lot better. But maybe this is part of that dead and ball thing they talked about before the year, where some of those fly balls are dying on the warning track rather than going over the fence.
Yeah. And I also wonder, it seems like every time we see both Soler or Dozier, it's either a strikeout or a pop fly to shallow outfield.
Yeah, sounds way too familiar. Or a lot of strikeouts.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just the strikeouts again, just so many guys I guess part of that is the new philosophy for a lot of hitters in the major leagues anymore. It's you don't take a opposite field, middle of the field approach with 2 strikes. You swing for the fences still, which makes a little more sense for Soler, but maybe Dozier might want to think about trying to cut his swing down a little bit. Try to get a few more.
At 3 on the team at 90.9 miles per hour average. Soler is at 94 and Salvia's at 93.3.
So they're still hitting the ball hard. Maybe, I mean, it could just be a ridiculous run of bad luck for both of them.
Yeah.
Where they could easily be in that 750 to 850 OPS range, which would put them in that good hitter category. So hopefully maybe the luck can turn around and we can find that third good above average hitter in their own lineup. So it's because I don't think you're not gonna get very far with only two guys in that over 100
carrying the weight. Yeah, it's you did mention Witt and Benintendi kind of turning around. I do think that Witt has had some better plate appearances here the last week or so than he was putting together the previous 2 or 3 weeks off that awesome start right out of the gate. So came out scorching hot, really cooled off, and I think he's putting together some pretty good plate appearances. And obviously, Benintendi is absolutely on fire. So, I mean, I'm trying to be the team optimism here. I tweeted about it earlier today that Nicky Lopez is putting together some good at bats. He's gotten on base pretty good rate.
Yeah, I was
stealing bags.
He's walking a lot, which is
almost just under 12%.
He needs to do that because he's not going to drive the ball very hard. Most of the time. So he needs his on base to be a solid 80 to 100 points above his average.
Right. And I honestly, like I said, I'll take that gold glove caliber defense at second base, get on get on base, clip 325, somewhere 325, 350, and maybe steal some bags, I will 100% take that from the 9-hole spot every time.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's doable because like everyone knows you can't have 9 boppers in the lineup unless you're the 1927 or 1927 Yankees. Don't think we're
Or
getting
the
those lineups.
2021 Dodgers. When they're fully healthy, it's a stupid lineup, just filthy. Just Brian, what's your definitive thing of this 2021 sample size?
Well, Kitty's kind of alluding to a lack of depth in the lineup that we've seen so far, and my lack of depth has been from the bullpen this year, and that's due in large part to missing some guys from injury. They've moved guys around from either the pen back to the rotation, back to the pen. Zimmer and Hahn being out for a while really hurt because Zimmer's one of those guys you're kind of counting on. Hopefully, he's finally figured it out. He's going to be a key piece of the bullpen. He's one of the core guys going into spring training that you could just kind of pencil in. He's going to be one of your guys that you're counting on sixth through the ninth inning to get key outs for you. And they've really just kind of shown their lack of depth here recently when, they finally get back to competitive again. They get that White Sox and they burn a lot of their big bullets, kind of early in the series. And then you get down to that Sunday game and you're still clawing at trying to take that series. And you turn to the bullpen and you're looking at Wade Davis, Zuber, Jake Brentz to try to close out a game for you. And it's just tough that the back half of that bullpen is just not where you need it to be if you want to be a competitive team. So I looked at those. So if we talk about the core guys going into the spring training that you could kind of pencil in, they're going to be in the bullpen, guys you count on kind of Stamont, Barlow, Holland, Zimmer, Hahn going into the year. Probably the guys that you're looking to count on in key innings. They've been okay. They've got a 1.3 whip, a 3.52 ERA, just under 11 K per 9. That's what you want out of the back end of your bullpen for the most part. All the others besides them have been at a 1.64 whip, a 6.14 ERA, a 9 K per 9. But that's just not what you want to see from the rest of your bullpen. And it's kind of odd, too, that those 5 guys that I said have almost the same amount of innings as the others. And there are 7 others, but the innings pitched were almost equal. I thought that was kind of wild. I think it was like 72 to 69 or something like that. But we've pitched
That's
a lot
of a guy like Junis and Herb Santana getting multiple innings when they come in.
Right, and Irvin's been good. I mean, I couldn't lie to myself and lump him in with the guys that you were counting on going to spring training just to make those numbers prettier, because they would be prettier if you put Irvin in there. So I think that's going to be a key thing to watch going forward, because like you said, we've hit that 40-game mark where Dayton has been known to make some moves on guys. If he's just not seeing it from them, he'll give them generally 40 games to prove that they're not ready to compete and help out this team, and then he might move on from them. And that was something going into the year we talked about being kind of a concern. If all the talk was we expect to win, we expect to compete this year. And we were worried that we've seen these Royals teams hang on to guys for too long that are trying to show to you that they cannot compete right now. And we just hang on to them for too long. They get out of contention, and then it's just kind of over from there. So it'll be very interesting to see if GMDM does some moves out in that bullpen to bolster it, especially now that you got Duffy on the shelf. So they got to do some mixing and matching there. What do they do with Junis? They still haven't announced that yet. So I think that's going to be the big key I'm looking for. Other than, once we add Mondesi back to this lineup, what does the everyday, setup kind of look like? That's something I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. But really, they got to figure out how to fix the back half of this bullpen, and they can't afford to give games away just because you get to the end of the bullpen and you can't count on guys anymore. I mean, that just can't happen if you want trying to be a competitive team right now.
Yep. And honestly, I had big plans for Jesse Hahn at the back of that bullpen coming into the year too. He had a stellar last season in 2020. Could not get healthy there in spring training, and I think he started for Omaha today on a rehab assignment and had a setback in the first hitter.
Yep.
So I think they're going to have to reassess where he is. So I'm not sure how much we can count on that. Like you said, Zimmer is coming back, expected to be. Oh, he is back, right?
Yep.
He's been activated. And I'm curious to see what all kind of shakes out. We know Daniel Lynch got sent down. Chris Bubich has kind of, seemingly cemented at least his case to continue forward in the rotation. You still got Lynch and Kowar, Carlos Hernandez. I'll throw on there since we're talking about the bullpen. And then John Heasley is dealing down there. John Boland's dealing down there. Alec Marsh. I mean, they got dudes to potentially look at, but they're all still kind of keeping them stretched out as starters. So it's going to be interesting to see, where we are in a couple weeks to figure out if it's truly go time or if it's time to kind of assess the trade market and figure out if there's a way to maybe leverage some of this young pitching to help out a few different areas. So I'll be curious to see. I did see today that Daniel Lynch in his, when he's working through his stuff in Omaha, solely out of the stretch right now, which is very interesting. I don't know. Danny Duffy did that when he was trying to work out some mechanics and stuff, when he was trying to figure out starting pitching, mechanics and what have you. And then a lot of those relief pitchers solely deal out of the stretch just to kind of make sure that they're, doing the same thing. So maybe he's working on something. Maybe they're working on a bullpen role for Daniel Lynch for now. We'll have to see how that kind of shakes out. But Kitty, do you have anything to add to the bullpen worries?
I mean, kind of the same thoughts. It's just there's so many guys on a daily basis that when you get brought in, you don't trust them.
Mm-hmm.
You're so worried about them just getting through one inning that's not a place where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
This harkens back to those 2014 and 2015 teams where you're like, who cares? Bring anyone in.
Yeah.
Shut down.
Yeah.
Next 4 innings are shut down no matter who you bring in. So
And even
that's
the
always
mid relievers like Jason Fraser was lights out.
Yeah, those guys were all
Chris Young was eating.
They all found it.
Yeah. It was
going back to
good times.
with Lynch going out of the, I feel like there's other guys that have gone out of the stretch exclusively.
Yep.
Pitching right now in the majors has starters. I can't bring anyone's name up top of my head, but I feel like that happens, and for some reason, mechanics might just get a little off when they go to the windup.
Yep.
Try and throw too hard, maybe get just a little off, and it just doesn't work. And so, go to the stretch, keep a little more compact, and it works for some guys.
I've seen the point made that Daniel Lynch is 6'6", lanky 6'6", and there's a lot of movements to kind of keep all that, in place in a repetitive motion when you're dealing from the windup. So it certainly makes sense. Danny Duffy still does it, right? And he still pitches solely from the stretch.
Yes.
So people do find success with it. I'm not exactly stating that Danny Duffy is the success case for it, but
right. No, I think there's other players that have done it and it's worked for them. So I don't think it's necessarily a bullpen move at this point. And if it doesn't work, I mean, he's so young that, okay, we tried it, didn't work. Let's go back to the windup and go from there.
Yeah. I'm not worried about it. I think there's too much smoke around Daniel Lynch's prospect pedigree to panic about him after a few starts here. But it is kind of one of those things where we're kind of in limbo with the whole pitching staff. With, there's plenty of depth coming from the farm, but this major league team has kind of showed that they need some help right now. Especially in the bullpen with the injuries that they've had. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how they move forward. Like Brian said, this 40-game stretch is usually when Dayton starts to take inventory, see what he needs to do to make sure that he's not selling at the deadline. Which kind of brings me to my point. The definitive thing that I could say about this is this team has the 19th best record in baseball coming into the night. 6 games out of the division, 4.5 games out of the wild card. And on paper, it should be way worse. It is they should feel lucky that they are currently only 19th worst in baseball, or best. I don't know how to 11th worst, I think is how it should go.
Yeah,
but they're really lucky to be in this position. They especially there in that good start with the 16-9 record. The batting numbers, peripherals were not great, still not good. The bats are currently 22nd overall in wins or WRC plus. The pitching overall is 25th in xFIP, and the defense is currently 27th in defensive runs saved.
Ugh.
So all that apparently equals to the 19th best record in baseball. So there is a little bit of luck to what they've done, which is not a secret. I mean, that winning streak at the beginning and the success does seem a little bit lucky at this point, all things considered, but they're also not as bad as they've been playing the last couple of weeks. So it's it kind of evens itself out at this point. So you're giving this luck of the 19th best record in baseball right now. And you need to do something with this opportunity. This is the definitive thing I could say, is that they are lucky to be in the position that they are. Their next 15 games. Okay, so they stopped the bleeding. The losing streak is over. They've won 3 of 5 recently. The bleeding has stopped. Their next 15 games are against the Milwaukee game is not counting tonight. Detroit, Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and then Minnesota again. 15-game stretch. You go 10-5 in that run, which is, I think, completely doable. You come on the other side of that, 29-27. You got momentum coming in there, and then you head to the West Coast to play Oakland and the Angels, which are both solid teams. West Coast is always a brutal road game it's a long damn trip out there. So I think they could totally use that momentum. That doesn't quite put them in wild card contention, but it's a whole hell of a lot better spot than they are right now. So they got lucky to be in this situation currently. They need to take advantage of the opportunity they've been given and roll this into some substantial momentum to power them through the rest of the year.
And I don't think it's a complete pipe dream to think that they can get hot over that stretch when you're playing against bad teams too. I mean, we're talking about adding Mondesi back, which is a huge wild card. And I think if you look at the lineup, like Kitty's talked about, the guys that are putting up decent numbers, they're not playing out of their minds by any means. They're not doing something head and shoulders above what they've always done. It's just we're asking the guys that are underperforming to step it up. And if you get that production and those guys that are playing like they should stay anywhere around there, I mean, you're not just a lot of times we're fabricating. We're saying, well, if this guy has a career year and that guy has a career year and this guy, we're not asking for career years. We're asking Dozier and Soler to kind of be the players who we've seen them be. And you add Mondesi to that. Like we said, he's the streakiest guy on this team, but when he's hot, he can win games for you for a couple of weeks at a time. So I don't think it's completely delusional to think that this team can get hot. Like you said, they're lucky to be in the position they are right now. And I think they can really, ramp it up and take off and actually be competitive and look good, but doing it and not just like, well, they kind of got lucky that night or they got lucky the other night. I mean, like that game they played last night against Woodruff, that was a really good pitcher.
Yep. Our
pitching staff played really well. Our defense showed up and everybody played like they're supposed to play. And they played a really good baseball game. And that was huge because you're going against Burns the next night and you're not expecting to score many runs. So they're starting to look like the baseball team that we thought they would be. So I think we can turn that lucky to be where they are to, hey, maybe they are an actual good team. So let's see what happens.
That Mondesi addition is it's always a wide range of outcomes with him. He could be an absolute MVP caliber. He could be worse than Hunter Dozier has been, a less than 47 OPS plus. It's just, it's just a wild ride that always kind of count on Mondesi. And when it would be one thing if this offense is humming and you're like, now we're going to throw in Mondesi and his upside is going to be pushing it just championship caliber type of offense type of style. At this point, I don't want to be in a position to have to rely on him coming back and like jump starting this offense, because that's just not what he is right now. Not what we've seen him do. We've seen him do it, but it's just not something that we can count on consistently.
I'm just hoping maybe his presence in the locker room can spur guys on, just because they know who he is, know what he can bring to the table, that it could possibly give a little juice to the rest of the team.
A huge spark. Absolutely.
Everybody's well aware of how talented he is. So I could totally see that being the case. And, kind of looking down the line is, well, we could start making some moves here. So very interested. Speaking of making moves, we'll talk about that in just a second. We've got Ball Street to do. We've got some takes here. We've got, we're kind of in our feels about how this team has been going the last few weeks. So we've got some hot takes here that we're going to buy, sell, or hold our stock in. There is a theme song to this. Unfortunately, I can't locate it at this time. So shout out to Summer for the segment theme that he prepared for us. It will happen, I promise. But Ball Street, we're going to start off with this first take, which is, I trust Greg Holland to convert a save opportunity right now. Gun to your head. Greg Holland has to save this game in order to save your life. Who's buying, who's selling, and who's holding this? Brian, I'm going to start with you here.
I am going to close my eyes and buy, just like I do every time he comes in and the game's on the line. He terrifies me, but by God, he seems to get the job done more often than not. And so I'm going to buy it. And we kind of joke about this, you know, amongst us, that you never pitch closers in non-save situations because they always seem to just give up meaningless runs when they don't they got that weird mentality. If the game's not on the line and they're not trying to shut it down, they just seem to not care as much
Can't
and
get up on it. Yeah.
they get stuff. And so I looked at his, you look at Baseball Reference and you go into the splits, they define high leverage games, mid leverage games, and low leverage games. He's got 9 games at high leverage situations where he's giving up a 214 batting average, a 746 OPS, which isn't great, but not horrible. You look at his low leverage games, 8 games, almost the same amount, but he's giving up a 400 batting average and a 1220 OPS. So I think
he is the rule of don't use closers.
That's right.
It sure seems
My
like
God.
it. And I mean, when you
Wow.
think about how they describe this guy, I mean, they talk about he's the guy you want at the end of the night at the bar when somebody's mouthing off and you get in a fight. He's the one that wants to step up to the plate. So maybe that's just how he pitches too. If you put him out there and it's a 1-run game and you absolutely have to have him, he's coming through. And you put him out there and you're down 4 runs and he just hasn't pitched in 4 games. And he gives up a couple taters and it's good night, folks. But so I am going to close my eyes and hit the buy button.
I like it. I'm actually buying too. You got a stat here. I got his last 11 appearances, which basically just takes out the first 4 games. 435 average, like you said, not much. You know, that's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. But his K per 9 is 12.19.
Yeah.
I mean, when was he doing that?
Yep.
At any time when he was pitching here originally. So
And he's doing that at a reduced velocity of what his heyday was.
He's a junk baller now.
Yeah.
And that includes that brutal outing on Sunday. So
Yeah.
he's still, I mean, that's where most of those earned runs came from. And it's like Brian mentioned, that closer mentality. A lot of guys don't have that. A lot of guys don't have that alpha mentality. And maybe it is a part where it's all about adrenaline, all about testosterone. He's 35 years old. I can attest to needing a bit of adrenaline sometimes to be able to function properly.
Are you low
Not
T?
on that level. I'm a little low T. That's never been a secret. It's always been a thing. But as far as other candidates in this bullpen, I mean, him, Stamont, Barlow, and Zimmer, all just as likely, just as volatile to get blown up any given night. So, you know what? Greg Holland, as good of an option, he may not be the most talented, but I think he's got the mentality, he's got the experience, got the resume, obviously. So I mean, I'm buying that as well. I'm not liking it. Like Brian said, closing my eyes, I'm swallowing the pill. I'm going to buy a little bit. So give it to me on that. Kitty, where are you at?
I'm selling. I think
Okay.
he is save stock percentages at the highest it's going to be. I think he's Bitcoin early this week. And we're worried about a plummet coming soon. It could be a real nasty for him. I mean, he's been great when I didn't have the high leverage stats in front of me when I made my decision. It was more just heart and feel, more gut. I'm more of a gut manager myself.
If we're being honest, most of us are gut calls anyways. We just go find some kind of stat to
to back up our gut call.
Yep,
Exactly right.
Google me right.
You know, on Saturdays when the sun is shining and only half the stadium is there, he's really good.
Oh, I would have just a giant book of dumb stats like that to back me up in all those situations.
I feel like that is a paid position for the Royals because they always have those weird stats up on the billboards. It's
Oh,
like
they do always. Yeah, when
Billy Butler leads the league in Tuesday hits.
yeah, exactly. They really did pump
I
all
want to be
those
that guy
meaningless
just
stats.
scours the split logs.
But
So-
boss, I can't find a good number for him. You get down there and you find it.
He's not hitting well. Find putouts. Go with defense. Do with a weird putout stat. Who cares? Just get something on the board.
He has 9 cats and 4 of them are still alive.
Did you check Friday the 13th games?
How
Well, get on it.
about the third Tuesday in May? Come on, guys. We
Give
gotta
me something.
work here.
So apparently there's a market for Brian and I to buy. We're going to buy Kitty's shares of Greg Holland
Right.
saving games. All right. That's how this game's supposed to work. We did it, guys. We did it. Kitty, we're going to come back to you on this one too, also involving a pitcher potentially going back and forth between the rotation. Old Jacob Junis. The take is Jacob Junis belongs in this rotation. Where are you at? Buying, selling, or holding the stock here?
I'm gonna buy right now. I'm not sure if it's a long-term solution for Jake Junis, but I think what the Royals needs right now, this is a definite need for the team, and I'm buying it. I think you mentioned earlier how bad his numbers were when he was in the rotation. Seemed like he was getting by with a lot of luck. Hey, sometimes that's what it takes, and that's what's going to work out for you. Maybe he was getting all the good luck where Dozier and Soler are getting all the bad luck. So it evened out with those two.
Karma's coming, baby.
So I want him in the rotation, just a few more turns with Duffy out. If Lynch is still working down in the minors, let's give Junis a couple turns, see what happens. I mean, there's been some other really bad pitchers in the rotation recently, so might
as well throw everything against the wall and see what sticks.
Put him out there. Yeah, we got a bunch of pieces of spaghetti. See how many of them stick to the wall, and how many we got to replace. So
the Billy Madison pickle against the window scene.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm going with Junis, but I'm not very optimistic. But I'm hoping he can throw a few good starts together before other guys are ready to come back in.
Yep. I'm gonna hold on to this stock because his ratios are pretty on par with what he's done this whole career, and that's kind of translated anywhere from an outcome. There's about a 1 whole run in ERA differential to kind of roll through there. So even though the ratios and all the things that he's kind of doing are still kind of up to what he was doing or has been doing, and that kind of translates differently. Like you said, his StatCast percentiles are not good. They are very good. One of the worst pitchers in baseball, according to those, which is very interesting. But
nerds.
In the other hand, his xFIP is still very good. I'm a believer in xFIP, and his ground ball percentage is way up from what it usually is. So, there could be some legitimacy to that, but also those StatCast numbers are usually pretty solid peripherals to kind of determine, what kind of pitcher they truly are. So, personally, I think he's going to be biggest role is going to be in the pen in the future. Now it's time to kind of figure that out, especially, he's got the cutter. Let's see where it is. Let's see where that kind of puts him. He's got that nasty slider, but he's kind of comboing with pretty average offerings. So we're going to have to figure out what his role is moving forward. That might be a long reliever. It might be a high leverage. It might be a mid reliever. He might just be traded off in the offseason. We'll have to see how it goes. But I think I'm still holding on to this stock to kind of figure out exactly where I need to throw my money or act next. I think at this point, I've done all the needed clicking to sell all of my shares on it. All I need to do is see enough to hit submit. That's where I'm at on the Jake Junis rotation thing. Brian?
I'm selling. I've seen all I need to see from Junis in the starting rotation. We've given him years to prove that he can be a starter, and the fact of the matter is he's a below average starter. And if we really want to talk about competing for a division title, and on paper, the depth of this franchise is starting pitching, and we've got all these guys that are supposedly chomping at the bit to break through and claim a role. And if that's the case, if those guys really are legit guys, they need to be better than Jacob Junis. And I need Jacob Junis. If he's going to be a swing guy that's going to fill in every now and then, if you have an injury, fine with that. But I need him to be primarily in the bullpen. I actually, even though it's small sample size and he's not been very good in the bullpen coming out of that role, I still think he can be a weapon out of there because he does have those 3 pitches to count on. And it always seems like his biggest struggle was getting through that lineup multiple times. I think he can pitch a couple of innings and be very good out of the bullpen. So I would rather roll the dice on one of these young guys, bringing them up. Like you said, Lynch was a bad experience, but I wouldn't let that affect any other decisions as far as any of these other young guys, giving them a shot, throw them in the deep end, see what they got, because I need that upside. And right now I don't have that upside from Jacob Junis.
Yep. And he can do that. I mean, currently he has the second best xFIP as a reliever for the Royals at 3.66. It's a pretty solid reliever xFIP. So, there might be something to that for sure.
I didn't realize he had so many starts with the Royals.
Yep.
Kind of an unheralded career from 2017 till now. I was a little surprised how long he's been.
88 starts.
Yeah, I would have been way below that if I had to guess the number.
And he's just as volatile as any of them. He can come out and throw 7 unscored, or he can last 2 1/3 and get blown up. He's got a high capacity either way. Next take. I approve of the job that Mike Matheny has done as manager in the season. I mean, there's only been 60 some games that he's been at the helm. So the take is that I approve of his job, and I am buying this. There was a lot of people jumping ship on the Mike Matheny train last week when they had that tough Wade Davis, experience there in the ninth against Chicago. The bullpen was shallow. Like we said, injuries, Stallmont and Barlow were both presumably unavailable after throwing 2 days in a row. A lot of pitches for both of them those 2 days too. Holland's already used, so your options were Wade, Zuber, Irv, Jake Newberry, Jake Junis, or Jake Brentz. And all of those are just as likely to do what Wade Davis did than Wade Davis. And Wade Davis has save games. He has that mentality that we were kind of talking about that, closers definitely need. And that lineup is very, very potent. So it could have 100%, especially against righties. Best hitting lineup against righties is that Chicago White Sox team. So you're not throwing Jake Brentz out there to get shelled. You're probably throwing the dude with the best experience, best resume, the guy you trust the most, and I think that is Wade. So even in that situation, I understand where his head was at, didn't work out. It happens. That kind of stuff happens. I feel like he's making the correct moves when he needs to do them. I mean, moving Benintendi up and down the lineup when it needs to happen, and it really worked out. Santana, they're using his on-base percentage, putting him in the 2-hole, and Benintendi was in the 3rd hole last night. I love that move. Keeping Witt at the top of the lineup instead of shuffling him around was great, and then just kind of filling in from there. I mean, from all things considered at this point, I can't put any of these losses at the feet of Mike Matheny at this point, in my opinion. So I approve of it. I'm buying all the stock in that take as I possibly can at this point. Brian, where are you?
I am also buying that statement. I think last year kind of got a little nervous because listening to Cardinals fans, they all said Mike Matheny's a tinkerer. He likes to tinker with things and try to fix it before it really gets broken and just move stuff around and nobody can kind of get, any rhythm going. I think this year we've seen a reduced amount of tinkering going on. And like you said, I mean, you can pick apart that one decision with the Wade Davis thing on Sunday, but by and large, I don't really have any problems when he makes pitching moves. And that's really the main thing you want out of your manager is to know when to pull a guy and when to go to another reliever. And so far, I haven't really had any issues with him there. The players seem to love to play for him. He publicly has their back all the time, even if he's arguing about a call that he was wrong about. He's always got their back, and they like to see that, even if they know too that he's wrong in saying that. I mean, that's what you want because it's a long season. You're listening to the same manager over and over again. If you get tired of what he's saying, if you have an asshole like Tony La Russa, you're going to stop paying attention to him at some point. So I'm glad to have Mike Matheny as the manager. He's good with the media too. I feel like he's much better at. They used to have a problem with him being an asshole in St. Louis with the media. He was very abrasive with them, and they'd question decisions, and he'd basically be like buzz off type of energy. But now I feel like he does a great job explaining every decision that they make, and you can tell sometimes he still has that in him, like, God, I don't want to answer this stupid question from you right now, but here's what's going through my mind. Here's what I'm thinking. And so you come away after his post-game pressers, like really understanding what they're thinking during the game. And it's not just, if you scroll through Twitter all the time, they can tell you all the right and the wrong things that managers are doing. So I can see it really gets frustrating, but I appreciate just kind of his openness on explaining a lot of stuff that they do. And like I said, at the end of the game, whether they win or lose, I really haven't had a whole lot of issues with his substitutions or at all. So I'm going to say, keep him around. I love it. Let's keep rolling with Matheny.
What a timely time to have this buying and selling with Tony La Russa completely shitting on all of his players.
Oh
Amazing.
my God.
The quote with Lance Lynn today was even worse than anything he said with Yerman.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't even see the Lance Lynn thing.
He basically is like, Lance has a locker and I have an office.
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
What an asshole comment that.
Yeah, that's because you can't play baseball anymore, you old fuck.
Well, he can't drive. I mean, he can't do a lot of.
God damn, what an asshole.
Kitty, where are you at on Mike Matheny though?
It's a 3-fer. I'm buying as well.
Mike Matheny, official.
I mean, I actually
podcast manager.
I actually prefer the abrasive interview style of Matheny back then. Yeah. What do you mean? Why did I make that decision? It's pretty like look at the roster. Look what. Come on, that's the decision was made because my options were limited. This is what I had to do. yeah, maybe he could have thrown Irv Santana as in a safe situation. Has Irv ever had a safe situation? I don't even know. Probably not. So
doubtful.
I understand the move to go to Wade, go with the veteran in that situation. Didn't work out. And from, I believe, what it looked like on all the replays, the guy was out of home. Should have gone extras anyway. So that loss isn't really on Matheny as much as it is, or Wade Davis as much as it is on the umpires.
Yep.
And then New York apparently learning of what the call originally is, so they don't overturn it unless some weird evidence is present itself, which that's a whole other thing to talk about.
I will shout out an article on Royals Review this week. Max Reaper took a dive in the review play system. It was really good. I recommend that.
Yeah, and a manager can only do so much with he's given this deck of cards. Some managers get a bunch of aces and kings.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys, you've got a bunch of 2s, 3s, 4s, 5, all the way through the whole deck, and you got to figure out what the best way to put these guys together to put them in winning situations. And as we went over earlier, the depth of the lineup and the bullpen and the rotation struggles, I mean, he's got the team seemingly, it looks like they believe still in their ability and what they're doing this year. And that can't be easy, especially coming off another double-digit losing streak for this franchise, which seems to happen way more than any other team. God. So there's only so much you can do with what you have, and then it eventually gets to the point of, is the manager getting the most out of the players he has?
Right.
And that takes more than, what has he had, 100 games with the 60 last year and 40 this year? That's been it, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard to put a hole on him at this point. So I think we'll know a lot more into this season, how guys that we've seen, that we talked about, that are underperforming, if he can get more out of him, see where the team ends up. But right now, I'm buying. I think the team believes in him, and feel like he's changed a little bit from what he was in St. Louis. He's not the new lineup every single day. Aside, I mean, he moved like you said, he moved Benintendi around when Benintendi wasn't hitting. He wasn't afraid to move him down early. I think a part of that is a good way to take pressure off guys when they're not performing.
100%.
You're in the 2-hole. I'm not hitting. Oh my God! I gotta hit. I gotta hit. Oh, I'm batting 7. Just relax. Not as much pressure in that 7 spot. So I like what he's done, and I'm willing to roll with him for the rest of this year, and hopefully this team can pick it up and make some good moves and put him in a better position to succeed itself as well.
Yep. I think you do make a good point. I think there's not a lot of guys that I could probably say that he's not getting the best out of right now. All these guys, including Michael A. Taylor, he's still getting, I guess, the effort as much as you can from Michael A. Taylor. He gives, I don't question his effort every night, but boy, his face is just locked in or somber, or no matter if he's hitting grand slams or striking out 4 times.
He's a robot.
Got the same face. I mean, that's something to appreciate about him, but I do agree that Matheny is getting quite a bit out of his players, if not all of them. So we're in on it. Let's keep it rolling here. Quick one here. Let's get out of here with this one. Buying or selling or holding, the Royals will be within 1 game of 500 by June 1st. I mentioned that stretch that they've got coming up, so it could be a little bit interesting. But Brian, are you buying, selling, or holding this stock?
Well, to do that, they're 19-22 currently. They're going to have to go 7-4 through the rest of this month. So I'm going to say, let's say we drop tonight against Burns. He's up for probably Cy Young right now. So let's say lost tonight. I say we get back on the train, sweep the Tigers. I say we'll take 1 out of 3 against the Rays at least. Take 2 or 3 against the Twins. Beat the Pittsburgh Pirates the last day of the year to get you to exactly 500 on June 1st. So I'm gonna buy that. Let's go. You don't have to squint your eyes too much to see that they can put together a 7-4 record against those teams.
Okay, I am too buying it for the exact same reason. So it's pretty easy. Kitty,
I'm gonna sell.
Okay.
It's if they don't get it tonight, it's 7-3. Those next 10 games, not easy to do. Even if you go 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, which is 6-3, that's not easy to win 3 straight series against any team. So I'm gonna sell. but hope they get to, at worst, a 6-4 record over the next 10 and get really close to that 500 record.
You can live with that.
2 games out
Yeah.
instead of 3. Yeah,
Be all right with 25 and 27 would be just fine.
Mhm.
Yep, 100%. Breaking news: I think Corey Kluber is through 8 with no hitting. I think who's he no hitting?
Take that, Clearing
The
Waivers
Rangers.
cursed Corey Kluber.
That's right. Yeah, he's against the Rangers. He's through 8. So after fresh off the heels of Spencer Turnbull no hitting who was it? The Mariners last night.
Did they lower the mound that we didn't hear about?
Lower the mound and
Or raise the mound? Raise the
bases
mound.
higher.
Raise the mound is makes it easier. Sorry.
Yeah, they lowered it and then they moved it in like 5 feet.
They raised the mound and moved closer to the plate. Guys are just dealing this year.
Yeah, they are. New segment alert. Here we go. This is it. We're going to do this quickly. Hopefully, we're calling it "Let's Make a Deal." Trademark pending. We'll see how that goes. Probably got to shuffle it away from Wayne Brady, but we're going to. Each one of us has one transaction we'd like the Royals to make to kind of send them off into the direction that we think that they are headed, to better prepare for where they're headed. So we've got 3 different ones. I think they're kind of going from wild and simple. It's quite a range, that we're kind of rolling. So I'm going to lead off with the one that kind of makes the most sense here. Brian, I'm going to start with yours. Yours is kind of the most simple move. What's your deal that you'd like to make?
You're simple, Josh. So I'm gonna at the 40 game mark. We talked about, we know if you can compete or not, and I'm sorry to say I don't think Waiter's ready to compete anymore. I hate to see him go, but I need him DFA'd because I need that 40-man spot, because I want to promote our version of Kopech and Alex Reyes or Josh Hader, a guy that I want to call an shit guy. One of these young guys I want to turn into our shit guy out of the bullpen, because we all know that we face these guys going against the other team. Your team's down 2 after 6 innings, and you see Kopech or one of these guys come in, they're going to give him 2 innings, and you're going to be lucky to get 1 guy on base. And it's like, I know we want to keep these guys in the minors starters as long as we want, right? But they're all almost on the same timeline. They can't all fit in the rotation. I've talked about before, I hate wasting live bullets in the minor leagues if they're ready to compete in the major leagues. We have a depth problem in the bullpen. We might be able to patch it up at the trade deadline, but I want to turn one of these guys into the shit guy in the bullpen, whether that's Kowar. He's got 2 major league ready pitches with his fastball and his changeup. Yep. He's absolutely ready to be an shit guy. Bolin, he's 24 years old. He's got a nasty fastball slider combo. He's only in AA right now, but it's not like he's 21 years old. He's 24. He was in that same draft with all these guys that are competing now. He could be the shit guy of that. And the Duval's guy, Will Klein, throws 100 miles an hour from the left side of the plate. Mm-hmm. He's in lower level minors right now too, but he can he's got major league ready stuff from the bullpen. We all wanted Dick Lovelady to become that shit guy out of the bullpen. It hasn't happened yet. He's still a candidate to be that guy. No. We've got internal options, and they're not all going to be able to be used in the starting rotation. Knock on wood, we don't have a plethora of injuries. But when you look at the rotation and see Minor, Keller, Duffy, guys like that you don't really want to put them in the pin, and you're not ready to force a guy up from Omaha. I want an shit guy. Turn him into a reliever for this year. We can make him a starter down the road, but let him eat right now in the majors. Let him compete and help this team win.
I'm very interested in adding a role in the bullpen. You got the swing man, you got the setup role, you got the closer, and then the all shit guy is somebody completely different. I'm very, very into that.
I think that was Stallmont last year, pretty much, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And now he's kind of embraced the role of closer, right? They've been exclusively using him there. They don't really use him for multiple innings anymore. So I want to use one of these young starters, especially in a year where people are worried about innings limits and all that crap. I mean, if you bring up Jackson Kowar and use him 2 innings at a time every 3 days or whatever, I mean, that's a weapon. I mean, sign me up.
Yep. I'm into that. I
like it.
I am, especially this season. If we're going to showcase these dudes to potentially be, currency in the long run to get an impact bat down the road. I'm very interested in showcasing them on the grand stage as well. So
And it works
that's the
if you don't.
direction, if not.
If you don't move them, you give them some major league experience on the way up and
Absolutely.
get them ready to get to that rotation spot.
You
And
can
you're
work on
trimming-
your third and fourth pitches in the offseason.
In
100%.
the bullpen sessions. So then the bullpen
Yep.
sessions.
Yeah.
Just go pick some brains of those major league guys, those vets that can give you some tips and tips of the trade. Kitty, what's your one move here that you'd like to see?
All right. So Lair, your DH. No more outfield for you.
That's
I don't
perfectly
have-
reasonable.
Had about enough of him butchering balls out in right field.
Uh-huh. Can't imagine why. Mr.
and
Fundamentals here.
Outside of that, I am O'Hearn's down. Either if he's got options left, option him back down. I mean, we don't need a DH that can't freaking hit. What's the point? Awesome. He's got
He's a left-handed bat.
68 plus OPS his last 163 games. I think we're done. You're burnt. You're gone.
You burnt.
And with that move, I'm bringing up an outfielder. Let's give me Oliveras. Guy's raking right now.
Yep.
Just need a hot bat. Maybe it won't translate, but he can't do any worse than O'Hearn. So let's bring him up and see what happens. I need something else. Somebody else needs to come up and take those ABs away from O'Hearn. It's 19 Ks and 44 at bats. Phenomenal. No, we're done.
I think we figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't hit major league pitching.
He was really good back in 2018, though.
Yeah, I noticed I looked 154 OPS his first 44 games.
It was very good. Yep.
68 plus his last 163. I think they figured him out.
Yeah.
He didn't adjust. They did. So
I think the ship might have sailed for sure, but
Yeah.
We're
So
team
now-
optimism. We want everybody to perform really well all the time. And
that's right.
if they
Some
just
guys
don't, it's just unfortunate.
I'm ready
I have no personal issue with O'Hearn. He seems like a nice guy, but you're not getting
Sure.
it done. You're out.
So
The
now
business.
I need the spicy trade. Let's make a deal. Josh, give it to us.
Yeah, we had simple, almost probably less than simple. And now what's the new one?
sense.
What's the what's the
common
fun?
sense.
What's the wild move?
So Daddy is a big trade guy. I will research stupid hypothetical trades until the day I die. I've done it ever since I caught like the franchise on MLB The Show. I'm Mr. Trade, Mr. Transaction, always. So Daddy's gonna bring a trade almost every time to this new segment. So we mentioned it that these young starters are currency. These starting pitchers currency. Jim Diem has mentioned this in the past. I think this is why we developed the depth. Clearly, there is an issue with positional player prospect depth, especially in center field. Marcus Mead, I believe his name, on Royals Farm Report did a piece on it today. Just coincidentally, we're kind of on the same page that there is not that much center field prospects in this Royals farm system. Not many guys that you can hang your head on. Maybe Eric Pena is able to stick in center field, but I think they mentioned that his, he's starting to fill out that frame a little bit more. So they're thinking he might be more for the corners. Benintendi's a corner. Obviously, Kyle Isbell might be a center fielder, but he's probably built for the corners. Oliveras is probably not a center fielder. So I think we need to go use some of this currency to go find our center fielder of the future. And I think he's currently in Seattle. So I think we need to trade Chris Bubich coming off right now. He's definitely the best of the group here so far, generating weak contact consistently. His clock has already started. So we're going to trade Chris Bubich to Seattle. They need some left-handed pitching prospects to go with their young core. They've got a plethora of outfield prospects, and Jared Kelenic, Julio Rodriguez, and Kyle Lewis are all out there already. So they've got Taylor Trammell out there. He's the prototype for a general manager Dayton Moore's center fielder. He's got great speed. He's got upside with the bat, but he's got swing and miss in there. He's currently
I was about to ask it, but he can't fucking hit.
Currently on a tear in AAA. I think he's had home run the last He's like 5 home runs last 6 games, something
Oh,
like
there we
that.
go. Okay, he can hit. All right.
So he can hit. He's got a huge upside with the bat, but there is some swing and miss in there. But he's got a great glove. He's got a great on base skills. He's got great. He's very fast, very good runner. So I think that he will stick in center field, and he is the prototype. He's got a lot of control left. He's got upside. So I want Taylor Trammell on this team, and then throw in Steckenrider from that bullpen. He has got great numbers in 2021, kind of a vet. He's 30 years old, good K percentage, and 2.5 years of control. So I think, I was talking to Joel Penfield, Royals Farm Report, and Alex Duvall, both about this move. Joel's a big Mariners guy. Both of them have their, finger on the pulse of the farm systems here. Joel thinks that, his stock is a little bit low because his numbers in 2021 are not great in the majors, and he did not have a great 2020 debut. So it may not even take Chris Bubich to go get Taylor Trammell from Seattle. And Jerry DiPoto is all over the place. He loves trades as much as Daddy does. So it may not take Chris Bubich. It might take one of these other arms that we can go get the center fielder of the future. Go get Taylor Trammell from Seattle Mariners right now. Lock up that center field position for the long term.
They'll just trade for Khalil Lee then, right?
Who apparently is 0 for 7 with 7 strikeouts for the Mets.
Okay, scratch that off.
I was
Great
worried about
trade.
his swing and miss too, but he's got he's got a career ahead of him hopefully, but right now not a great start. But
I like the thinking there.
we'll
Center
I
field
think
is definitely a weak spot in the pipeline and in the current roster.
and boy, let me tell you, when the Royals were hot, who'd they have? They had a solid dude in center field just making plays, also very good with the bat. Trammell is left-handed batter as well, which is something that always a little bit more valuable than a right-hander at that point. So it all depends on how Seattle kind of sees him in the long run, but I would very much like to add Taylor Trammell to this lineup long term for sure. So that's a new segment. Let's make a deal.
I like it.
I think there are some proposals here that'll get taken right up, and then some that will not even be listened to. I'll let the listeners kind of decide which ones those are, but we'll kind of have that in the future with some more deals that we'd like to see come to fruition the more games we see. So we've got some shenanigans to kind of roll through here, some that I really like. We've got a keep trade cut that we kind of wanted to lay on the table, but first we've got one of my favorite games is Waiver Sharks. We've kind of taken the waiver watch. We've got the old Waiver Sharks. We're putting them together. I'm going to see what these two can do with the Waiver Sharks. No theme song. We're getting right to it here. I've got a list of 11 movies or TV shows. They all have a common theme or something in common between them. So these two are going to try to figure that out. Kitty, I think your move for Let's Make a Deal was slightly more reasonable than what Brian's trying to get, even though I love the oh shit guy. I love that. So
Right.
Kitty, you're going to be the one to picking the doors tonight. I've only got 2
appreciate
doors
it.
to walk through. You want door number 1 or door number 2?
I'm gonna go 2. I think my deal was more realistic than reasonable.
Okay.
Maybe that's more the word you want to go for.
Okay.
'Cause
Well, I mean,
I think
knew it started with an R though.
that's right. I don't disagree it's reasonable either, but I think they're gonna stick with Wade for a little longer.
It wouldn't be out of character for the Royals to do something like that. But so
Anyway, either way,
you
door
picked
2. Let's do
number
this.
2. We've got 10. I'm going to say it. I think both of these categories are all movies. So we got 11 movies here. You're going to try to guess the Rotten Tomatoes score, if it's higher or lower than the one previously to it. And then you're going to try to guess the common theme or
Critics,
commonality
audience?
between them.
Remember which
It
one
is
we
a
did on
critic
this?
score for this one.
All right. My favorite. I love those critics. Love
So
those
pick a
Fox Network.
starting point 1 through 11.
I'm gonna go George Brett, number 5.
Number 5. Let me
Look at
count
that. I
real
knew a
quick.
number from somebody. How about
Great
it?
job.
Look at you. So
Really
cute.
impressive.
George Brett movie is Flight.
Okay.
Critics gave it a 77%. Okay. Is Airplane higher or lower than a 77%?
Oh no. Oh, it's hard. Oh, because this was made back when critics had a sense of humor.
And
Oh,
I will
geez.
say that both of these lists have multiple trap doors. and you landed
I
right
may
in
have
the one.
I found one quick. Oh no.
You were supplanted on the exact doorstep of one of them.
I wonder what the theme could be.
Well, you would maybe it's a trap.
No,
Maybe
it
it's a
could be.
trap
Yeah,
door.
that's another trap door. Oh
77%. Airplane, higher or lower?
God, I gotta go lower.
Gotta go lower. Airplane is a 97%.
Once again, Josh's hard work pays off.
You were not kidding that this is back when the critics did have a sense of humor.
I didn't think it was that good of a sense of humor. Oh my
Leslie
goodness.
Nielsen apparently was still critic proof back in the airplane days.
Oh wow.
Would you like to take a stab at the common theme in these movies?
I mean, I feel like airplane's too obvious. Maybe it's not.
This is my poker face. You don't know. Or maybe my screen just froze. One of those two.
Was Leslie Nielsen in Flight?
That would have been a great cameo. They really missed opportunity there.
Holy
I
cameo.
really should have brought him in.
That would have been so good. Or
I'll just go with-
a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar one in there.
Yeah, this NBA stars. That's the common theme. Let's go with this. I'm gonna go airplanes.
And you got it.
Oh,
All
God.
So
right.
you did get 1 point.
Got a point. Woohoo!
The good news is that might win. Brian is
Yep.
not good at these.
Nope.
I am also very bad at 50-50s,
Oh
but Brian
my
is right there
God.
with me. So
97.
97% for
Ah.
airplane.
Wow.
I really wish you to hit something like I got Soul Plane in here. I got Money Plane.
Snakes on a plane.
Oh,
Snakes on
freaking
a plane.
freaking money plane. Oh,
One of the
what?
pitfalls was Catch Me If You Can and The Aviator. You wouldn't have known. Both of those involved being pilots and stuff. So
God.
you'd have never known.
Yeah, those two. I had nothing to do with planes ever.
Or if I backed up Con Air and Executive Decision back to back,
Solid,
that would have been tough.
solid.
Lazy.
Brian,
Money plane with Kelsey
Lazy.
Grammer. What a film. What a film.
I do need to see that. It had a lot of people in it. Thomas Jane,
It's
Luke
so-
Evans, and big cast,
It's so stupid.
big time cast.
Give me number
Brian.
8, Josh.
Door number 1, and you're going to start in number 8. Your first one is Zoolander.
Okay.
Got a 63% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
See, critics really lost their sense of humor in those 15, 20
It really fell
minutes.
off.
Airplane to Zoolander.
Your next movie is Cars.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Higher or lower than the 63%?
You want me to compare Zoolander to a children's cartoon movie?
You know what, Brian? I sure do. I sure want you to do that right now.
Well, I think it was, I never saw it, but I think people loved it. So I'm going to go higher than 63.
It was higher. It's 74%.
All right.
So you got a tie ball game here.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Zoolander and Cars. So planes.
Next movie, Cars is 74%. Next movie is Wedding Crashers.
Oh, no. This was right around the
Ooh.
time they really lost their sense of humor.
Lost their sense of humor. Higher or
I-
lower than a 74%?
I mean, universally beloved by audience, but did critics buy into it?
That certainly does not matter most of the time.
Oh my God. These fart sniffers just right around their heyday of just shitting on really great comedies. So I'm going to go lower.
You should have went higher.
Oh, no way.
It was a 76%.
Oh, barely.
So right there.
Good Lord.
Shit.
And I
That's
feel
a
like this was, I think they still had a sense of humor in this run. I think they still
It was
were there. It wasn't shortly
close.
after
I
they
guess-
lost it, but it is there.
I mean,
Close.
76 is still way too low.
I agree.
That movie's a 95. I mean, so many one-liners, great
Mhm.
cast. I mean, what do you want from a comedy
From a
if
co-
it's not that?
a
And a love
ridiculous-
story?
Yeah, give him a love story, too. It's really a
Jesus.
rom-com.
Mhm.
It's a rom-com if you think about it.
And we're here talking like 76 is not like a good score. That's still very good, especially for critics in a comedy movie, but
That's
it
true.
certainly should be higher.
That's dumb. What's the
Um,
theme of this?
The theme of Cars, Cars, Zoolander, and Wedding Crashers. What do
I
they
gotta
have
guess
in
if
common?
he doesn't get
Yeah.
it.
Well, there's no steals, so
Wedding
you can end in a
Crashers.
tie.
Yeah, new rule. Steals.
New rule. I guess that could be the tiebreaker.
How about Christopher Walken?
Owen Wilson.
It was Owen Wilson.
Okay.
That is correct. What would you think that Meet the Parents got? Higher or lower than a 76?
Was that
Gotta
the
be
first
lower.
one?
That's the.
Oh,
That's the first one.
Yep.
I think they liked the first one.
I got them all on here. Meet the
Man.
Parents, Meet the Fockers, and Little Fockers.
That's true. I would have thought they'd like it, but God, it's hard to think. I
Meet the
gotta
Parents
Go,
compared to Wedding Crashers?
Yeah. 70, higher,
higher.
lower than 76.
I'd go lower.
I'm gonna go higher.
84.
Unbelievable.
84.
There's a. I think I'm maybe cracking the code slightly. Raunchiness is a factor.
Yeah.
What is it?
Raunchiness.
Raunchiness. Wedding Crasher is a little raunchy at times.
Sure.
Meet the Parents.
If
Very
that's
little
the
raunch.
bearing, then
Very little raunch.
Little Fockers must have been super raunchy because it was a 9%.
Well, there's also really shitty movies.
Which one between Armageddon and Anaconda do you think had a higher score?
Armageddon.
Barely. Armageddon had a 38%. Anaconda was a 37%.
What?
Well, if you had told me
Anaconda
38.
was awful, and Armageddon was at least
Whoa!
respectable.
Whoa!
No, no, no.
I'm a-
No, you're not. You're not.
I'm taking
no,
issue with this take.
No. Anaconda was terrible.
People loved Armageddon,
Liar.
right?
I loved it. Loved
Yeah,
it.
I loved Anaconda. What are you talking
Critics stink.
about? I liked Anaconda. I'll watch Anaconda way before I'll watch Armageddon again.
I mean, that's
think
fair
that's
for different
fair.
reasons.
Yeah.
Depends on what
Yeah,
what you're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
That's a
any day of the week,
Sunday
any time of
afternoon.
day. If I got 2 hours, I'm watching Anaconda before I watch Armageddon.
I just need John Voight to be thrown up from a snake and then
Oh,
winks at you.
And then
Give
it
you a
winks at me
wink.
exactly.
Unbelievable. Every bone in his body is crushed, but he's still alive enough to give you a little wink. Shut up, John Voight. Get out of here with Anaconda.
He's
Such
so
a
good. I
stupid
love
movie.
that movie.
So stupid, it's good. Let's move on. We've got another shenanigan here. I do have. Let's go ahead and play the music for Keep Trade Cut.
Just keep trade cut, gonna give it to you. It's Tuesday night, we're in the spot. Yeah, don't believe it, just watch.
Just realizing that between this and the Neil Diamond Keep Trade Cut, I mean, it kind of stems off two different vibes here. It depends on what you kind of. I should really think about this a little bit more about what we play here because I don't know if Uptown Funk was a little bit too hype for this one. Maybe not.
I don't know.
Nice Keep Trade Cut is which fan are you going to be watching a game with? You're going to go to the ballpark or sitting on your couch. You're going to watch a game with one of these guys. You're going to watch a game with the eternal pessimist, the Debbie Downer of the group, or flip side, the eternal optimist. Mr. Sunshine, Uncle Hud is a very good suspect for the eternal optimist, or the I told you so guy, the guy who has always told you so from the day you ever met. So we're going to keep trade cut each one of these. Brian, I'm going to have you wait. Who won? No, Kitty won that.
I think you should probably start. I think you won that because we were so bad.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
You put
you're
in the
right.
I'll go
effort of
with you.
finding those movies.
I think you're right. I think
We tied
I
at
did.
1. I think you should start.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and trade the only one with any kind of trade value here, which is the ultimate optimist. I think you're the only ones that you could ever stomach being in the same room with without some kind of counterpart. So I'm gonna go ahead and trade the team optimist. I'm gonna cut the pessimist.
Mhm.
And there's a reason why I'm doing it kind of out of the order here. I'm cutting the pessimist because they're the worst. They're going to Trojan horse you saying, I'm not a pessimist, I'm a realist.
Mhm.
No, you're just an asshole. That's the real. The best you can get is like when they make a diving catch and they're like, oh, that was about a half inch away from being really bad. Shut up. It was a great catch. Get out of my life. That's as good as they're going to get. If things go worse than that, it's only going to get worse. Get out of here. Cutting the ultimate pessimist here. That means I'm keeping the I told you so guy because they're the lesser of two evils. They might be, happy that they told you that they were going to do something good. They might be, happy that they told you something bad was going to happen. Either way, it's a self-serving move. I can understand why nobody wants to see them or spend the game with them, but they always need a handler, the guy that's going to give them and serve them up a piece of humble pie. I have a picture in my brain that this is Rance.
Okay.
He's always going to be the one that's going to be able to get them in line, give them that humble pie, give them that witty quip, and be like, "Yeah, you told us so, but you tell us literally everything. Everything's going to happen." So I'm trading for the ultimate "I told you so" guy's handler. That makes sense.
The put him in
It does.
check. Keep him in
Put him in check guy. Yep.
So this guy has a great memory. He remembers all the bad takes when they forget all the ones.
Yes.
Yep.
Right. Yeah,
Brings
when they,
them, it kind of levels them out, and I will find great pleasure in that.
Good trade. Good trade.
that is good.
It's kind of the catalyst, the one that kind of brings it back to neutral, and I can really enjoy the game at that point. So we're going with Kitty because you knew Owen Wilson. What's your keep trade bet this week?
I'm going a little out of order too. I'm going to cut the "I told you so" guy.
Mhm.
I don't like that guy. Don't like him one bit. And I understand probably has some value out there, but for me, just like you said, there's so many times they're wrong that the handful of times they're right during a game is just so annoying. Oh, I knew he'd hit a home run. I told you he'd hit a home run.
The better their
you
batting
also- you
average,
also
the
said the
more
last eight-
insufferable. Right.
You said the last 8 guys were going to hit home runs, and all them struck out. So where were you then? So that guy, I just can't. That guy just angers me way too much. So I'm
Sounds
gonna
like
keep.
you got some potential for my handler guy.
Oh God, I'm in that. I'm in the mix.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep the eternal optimist.
Mhm.
I'd rather watch a game with Rex Hudler
Mhm.
than most people I know,
Mhm.
as far as if they have a bad attitude towards the game, or decent attitude. But Rex Hudler's he's happy. He's watching baseball. He's having a great time. These guys
Yep.
are playing their damn hearts out. Let's do it. I guess he'd say "dang hearts out" because
They're dang hard.
Rex Hudler's fantastic. I'm a Rex Hudler fan. Have been for years. Love the guy.
He gets a little preachy when he turns into like tough love Uncle Hud.
Yeah, once in a while he kind of they can grind him down a little bit, and he just like, come on, guys.
They need to be pushing the ball. Everyone's going up with a pull the ball mentality. They need to be pushing it.
Opposite field.
Yeah, he's a big opposite guy. I mean, when your career was opposite field hits, that's kind of where you where you butter your bread. So you're gonna push guys to go that direction. Not sure if this guy's got much trade value, that eternal pessimist.
Yep.
But I'm going to trade him. I'm going to go the gambler.
Yep.
I like to roll the dice. We'll gamble a little bit during games, so I think it's fun. It can be fun. I guess I should say probably call him the low stakes gambler. You know,
Yep.
$5-10 bets, not the $100 to $1,000 bet guy. So
A high stakes guy can ruin your life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't need the higher roller. I need the low stakes gambler to come hang out with me during the game with the eternal optimist, who we can probably take advantage of a little bit during the game with the gambling.
Yeah. And if you lose
Which
all
is
your
a little-
money,
I mean,
he can
it's-
tell you what
it's-
all the good things about your life you still have to
Yeah.
go for.
It's true. It's a little rude of us or me to bring the gambler into the eternal optimist's
That's true.
arena. But if the team's playing well, eternal optimist is going to take us down a little bit too. So
You are John Voight leading Jennifer Lopez into the den of the anacondas.
hey, got to find that snake, man.
Spoiler
Big
alert,
money.
there were 2 of them.
They pay big money for snakes this big.
You come for the sports takes, you stay for the John Voight impression. Love it. The bad Cajun John Voight impression.
Yeah.
She heard to my it sounds like Scarface, but you
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
Cuban John Voight. Brian, keep trade cut. Go.
All right, let's close this silliness off.
Yep.
I'm with Kitty. Get the "I told you so" guy out of my life. To me, he has no trade value. Nobody wants to sit with him. Like he said, he only remembers the things he got right, and the 1,000 things he said that was wrong, they're just wiped from his memory, and you can't tell him otherwise. So get him out. I'm gonna keep the eternal optimist because I enjoy watching games. I'm like Kitty. I'll listen to a guy that when you're down 8 runs in the 7th inning say, "Hey, it's happened before." I mean, sometimes that's annoying, but that's way better than the eternal pessimist. These guys are the worst. I'm going to trade them. They don't have much trade value, so I'm going to trade for somebody else that most people probably don't want to watch games with, and that is the totally clueless fan. So when I say that, I mean one of my best friends from grade school. I've went to Royals games with him before. He has no idea what's going on with the Royals or really the game of baseball, but he just wants to go out there and have a good time. And he'll always give you a classic line, a classic question about just something that all our wives know the answer to, but he doesn't know. He's a lovable idiot when it comes to baseball.
Sure.
So he might, when the team's down 6 runs and the fans are booing, he might yell something like, "Were the Royals even in the draft this year?" Shout out Bryce. Bryce, yep. Every team's in the draft every year, and even if they were in the draft this year, but you're not going to see those guys for 4 years. But I appreciate you getting on to them. I appreciate it. He may ask a ridiculous question that you'll laugh about for years. So give me the clueless fan to go out there and have a good time, because most times it's a game that doesn't mean anything anyway. So give me a memory for one of those games in July, what doesn't end up mattering, but you're always going to remember that time Bryce yelled, "Were the Royals even in the draft this year?" I'll never forget that. So
did you have a good hearty chuckle to yourself on that one?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're the only one who didn't. I mean, there's probably way more fans like that.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah. Why isn't Brandon Finnegan out here?
They're usually the angriest ones too. The people that know yeah.
They're the shooting stars, like I mentioned last week.
Yes.
I think we call them KU fans.
Oh, that's how
Shots fired.
That's how you seclude an audience. That's
There
how
you
you
go.
do it. Yep. We've done it successfully.
Shut it down.
It's fine. They don't have souls, or they don't listen to us either. So that was a fun episode. I'm not gonna lie. That was a very silly round. I really appreciate that, the silliness for sure. But that's all we got for the evening. We hope you enjoyed everything we've kind of brought to the table this week. We enjoy having you listen to us. If you like what you see, come give us a follow on social media at Clearing Waivers is where you can find us. You can find us on YouTube if you want to see our silly faces as we are talking silly things. We do have a YouTube channel, Clearing Waivers. Just give us a search on the YouTube. You'll be able to find it. Hit that subscribe button. You'll get all the notifications as they kind of fall when a new episode airs. We are also very appreciative. That's the main word I love to use, is appreciative of being part of the Royals Review channel and the Royals Review community. That's kind of where we're starting that's where we're part of the platform. And they do some great Royals coverage over royalsreview.com. Great writers over there. Like I mentioned, the shout out to Rax Reaper and his Royals Review replay review type of thing article. A lot of good stuff over there. So go give them a look-see, give them a follow as well. Royals Farm Report also doing some great Royals coverage, especially with the farm system kind of getting picked up. They are off and running with their coverage of the Royals. So go give them a look as well. But I think that's all we got. We want to appreciate you guys one more time. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for stopping by. Ta-ta for now.